Christie, who is speaking at the ceremony honoring the New Jerseyans who lost their lives on 9/11. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Samson. To Governor Kean and Governor Florio, Governor McGreevey, Governor DiFrancesco, who was the leader of our state on September 11th, 2001, Governor Corzine, thank you for being here. Lieutenant Governor Guadagno, for her support and leadership, thank you for being here. And for your remarks, Senator Lautenberg and Senator Menendez, thank you for being a part of today's special remembrance and for your continued leadership of our state. Laurie Gayle Stephenson, thank you for showing us once again the gifts that God bestows on all of us and for putting them on full display today to inspire us again. Laurie, thank you. For Reverend Jackson, thank you, sir, for being here and for your eloquent and inspiring invocation. We thank you, as always, for being someone who supports all those in need in our state, and especially those today in need of support and remembrance. Despite the fact that today you've heard remarks from Chairman Samson and Senator Lautenberg and Senator Menendez, and now from me as Governor of New Jersey, today is not about any of us. We stand here today honored and privileged to be leaders of this community. But we know that all of us are here, not for the speeches, but for the families. Because in the end, while September 11th was a tragedy for our nation as a whole, it was most importantly a tragedy for each and every one of those families who lost loved ones, family members, friends, colleagues that day. And so I hope that today and tomorrow and in the days and weeks and years to come, that we never, ever lose our focus on what today is all about. When I had the opportunity about 10 months ago to meet with Rick Cahill and the representatives from state government who were working on completing this memorial, it was clear to me that this was something that needed to be done by today as an honor to them, as a place for them to come and to remember starkly and clearly their loved ones. Now, there are many places that I know they go to do that already. But this can be a place, one place, where they can come for a sense of community with us. Unfortunately for them, much of their suffering has been private, horribly private. With us today, we can share in their grief and serve through our presence and our words to help to ease their pain and lift their spirits. Because, as Chairman Samson said, the attack on the World Trade Center was the attack on the home of the Port Authority. It was an attack on all of our homes. And an attack on our homes demands a response from us, not only of retribution against those who brought the attacks, but much more importantly, a response of compassion and love and faith and understanding for those most directly affected by what happened 10 years ago tomorrow. For Mary Pat and I, in our lives, we have seen this very clearly, as I'm sure so many of you in this audience have as well. I'm sure most, if not all of you here, know someone who lost someone on that day. And what strikes us so much is that while moments like today and tomorrow are moments of great reflection and great thought for all of us about who we are as a people and where we're heading as a country. I think we all have to take the time to put those issues aside and think about how those individuals who survive put one foot in front of the other each day, and what we can do to continue to help them live through this process. See, for most of us, the events of September 11th have changed our lives, but changed our lives in ways that are impersonal to some extent. The different ways we travel through airports, the different reaction we have to planes flying low overhead, the different reaction we have to something we see that looks unusual or suspicious. It's difficult for many of us to remember how we used to react 10 years ago today compared to the way we've reacted 10 years ago from yesterday. But for the individual families, their reaction and the change to their lives has been much different, and I'd respectfully suggest much more significant. When you think that now there have been 10 Little League seasons where young children didn't have the father there to coach them on that field or cheer them from the stands, when you think that there are young women today who do not have their father there with them to hand them that bouquet of flowers or that special word before they graduate from high school or college, or to walk them down the aisle on the day of their wedding. When you think about the husband or wife who has now spent 10 years feeling that sense of loneliness that can only come from the loss of your life's best friend. When you think about the brother or sister who no longer has that person who they can pick up the phone and call and speak in that shorthand that only comes after spending a lifetime together. When you think about that measure of loss, all of the changes and inconveniences in our lives pale in comparison. We're going to observe in a few moments a moment of silence to honor the victims of September 11th. It is a long-standing tradition to observe a moment of silence to respect the life of a lost soul. And I think that all of us in the aftermath of September 11th felt like there was something we wanted to do, something more to do to reach out. And giving a moment of silence for each one of those lost souls, nearly 3,000, on September 11th, would seem to be the least that we could do in our own lives to honor them. But to understand the enormity of the loss we suffered as a country and as a people. Please remember this. If we decided to do that right now, if we made a solemn commitment to each other today that we would together, as New Jerseyans, observe a moment of silence right now together for each lost soul on September 11th, we would be sitting here together in silence until Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock. If we gave just 1 minute to each lost soul, that's the enormity of our loss as a people. But the loss for these families